Hey everybody, thought this would be super important. I always forget to do this, so why not? So one of the things that you will need to do routinely is fill your aircraft full of fuel. Kind of makes it go, right? So a few pointers that might be helpful the next time you land your aircraft at a well, as you can see, I'm in a military base right now, but at any FBO that has self-serve fuel. A lot of times if you do it yourself, you save a little bit of money. It's super easy. You're in and out, you're ready to go. So first little step here is you want to start with one of these little guys, little ground clamp here. A couple things real quick though is that with the ground clamp you want to make sure that it is locked. So these little wheels here, let me show you, retractable. So you want to grab a hold of this, not let it slide, and make sure that it's not just rolling away from you. So pull it past your plane and make sure it locks before connecting it to a ground point. Some of the popular ground points are any place with metal, bare metal basically. That's what you're trying to do, is trying to connect the aircraft to the ground so it doesn't ignite. So when you're fueling it up, a spark won't ignite the fuel there. So with my Viper there, I always just use the engine, which is basically connected to the exhaust. So I've got all that metal to clamp onto. So I do the clamp there. You're in either gallons or dollar amount. I always do gallons. It's easier to kind of guesstimate how many gallons you need in the plane. It's kind of hard doing that math, figuring out dollar amounts. So I always try to do gallons, but don't go too crazy because it does pre-authorization on your card and it may decline it. All right, one last thing before you get started. Make sure you do this. Clock it to 0 and you're good to go. And let's get a good pair of gloves, man. You don't have av fuel all over you. It's nice, which I'll show you in just a second, to try to avoid all of the nasty hoses and especially the barbs that are coming out from that steel braided cable there. So get yourself some gloves, and it's super helpful also if you get a towel. Doesn't have to be anything super duper good, just a towel, or even I carry, you see there, a paper towel. So anything for splashing is what we're getting at there. So make sure you have those two things with you before you go on to the next step here. All right, more prep process is the actual gas hose. So notice I haven't touched anything really. I'm doing all of this prep work first. So I'm going to take this gas hose out there. Most of them are broken down because people treat them poorly. So you might have a gas hose looking something like this. So what I do with this is I move to the furthest side of the plane, and then I'll work my way closest to the pump. So I've got my paper towel, I got my gloves, my plane is grounded. I can go ahead and select there from the machine whether I want gallons or a monetary amount. Again, I strongly suggest doing gallons. You have a better idea with gallons, and you can always go back and get more if you need it. And if you get less, it doesn't charge you for it. So it makes the most sense, especially with GA aircraft. Another little thing that I try to do is whenever I fuel up, I put the gas cap on the little cloth I'm using. That way, you know, gas usually goes that way, and it's absorbed by the little paper towel thing, and it won't scratch the paint. So pretty simple there. So I fuel it up. I have my towel. If there's any spills, good to go. A couple things here that you want to make sure. Number one, these pumps are used and abused, and the seals on them will sometimes not close as quickly as you think. So when you're doing it, you want to pull that trigger, and then you want to let it go. First thing you want to do, so open this up, your towel rent, squeeze the trigger, let it go, And you'll notice real quick if a lot more gas comes out after you release the trigger. That's one of the things I learned really early on, and that's a thing that could happen. One of the places that I've went to, I released the trigger and the gas kept going for like 2 seconds. And these things, when you pump fuel, holy smokes, it will come out quick. So anyway, I do that. I also take note that I haven't seen any one of these that when you start, it doesn't put extra fuel. And it's not really extra fuel, they calculate it, but what I'm saying is that when you're fueling, you release, you know, you will or will not have the seal instantly, and then after that you'll still have more that will topple off. So in the Piper, we have these little overflow holes. It's just a hole, it's hard to see because of the thing, but basically I've got a stopping point. I know when to stop, and then of course it's never perfect, so if I need a little bit more, I'll just squeeze it just a little bit more and I'm good to go. Really the big ones on there, the seal that doesn't seal quite instantly, and then also that afterwash. It's basically the fuel kind of left in that long hose there. So again, it's calculated in the price, but it looks like they're giving you something for free. So be on the lookout for that. Once I'm done with the plane, I kind of do it in reverse order there. I take this hose, which I'm in that stage right now, and I move it off. The ones that are broken, I try to do this for them because it's a nice thing to do. I always try to move the actual head here so it's not dragging on the ground. That's kind of messed up, and what we're trying to do is just clear it from the aircraft so people have the chance to run up. Try to place this somewhere off the ground. It's also kind of a nice thing. Like I said, make sure all the kinks are out and that's away from the aircraft. There we go. It's always on top. Always try to keep that plane grounded. Ungrounding, it's the last thing you want to do. All right, let's move this like that. I think it's as good as we can. Now, if this did work, all we would have to do, and another reason we have the gloves here, is hold this, push the button, it starts retracting. The complicated part of that is moving this so it doesn't clump up. So it's spooled into the spool. It's retracted in the spool, nice and evenly distributed. And then we're gonna unattach this little clamp. That was unattached when we moved. Actually, it was unattached, period, because I had already fueled my plane. All right, so this is the thing. We do not want to go up there, hold this line and run it through our fingers. No, no, no. So you go all the way back and you walk it in. The reason we do this is because the coating on this steel braided line gets old and broken up. There we go. We do not want that just jamming in our fingers. That would be horrible. All right, it takes a minute, but trust me, it is worth not having the Band-Aid. All right, this one's not working very well at all. Another thing you can do here, do it manually. So kind of a matter of preference, to be honest with you, but usually the stronger ones, you're able to just pull it back there and you're good to go. And again, this you want to make sure it's off the ground. If you want to attach it to something, that's fine as well, but this one looks like it's pretty good to go.